Hi everyone, and welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to the Division 1 show preview this week. So I'm joined today by Fiacra, Dundalk, and I'm joined with Jamie, who's making his debut for the Division 1 show. So I think we'll jump right into it, and what better game to start with than Cork versus Cove? Obviously, a Munster derby, and it's looking like it's going to be a great game. And obviously, Cork having got a big capacity now to let fans in, which is absolutely excellent to see that we're getting fans back into the ground. Jamie, how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I can't wait for this game. These derbies are what the League of Ireland's about, and to have some fans back in the stadium is brilliant. I think the Cork fans, they might be a bit more optimistic than they were a few weeks back because they've made some good signings. I like Aaron Bolger from Longford. Obviously, things didn't work out at Rovers and Longford, but I think this is maybe his last chance, and he will really be trying to prove himself here. And then obviously they signed Barry Coffey on loan from Celtic, and I've heard a fair few things about him. Apparently, he's a very good player, so he'll be again trying to prove himself to get into that Celtic setup. So, Cork will be really up for this, and so will Cove. Cove, they're only a few points behind Cork in this, or it's the other way around. Cork are a few points behind Cove, so they're both very similar in the league. So it really will be a big game, and I think they're both a few points off the playoffs, but they really need to keep them ambitions alive for as long as possible. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Fiacre, like what Jamie said there, they made a few signings there. I think a lot of us know who Aaron Bolger is, and he's a good, small, technical midfielder player, and someone that can bring something new to the Cork team. And it's always good if you're kind of lingering towards the bottom of the league to bring in a few bodies, change the team up, a few new ideas, a few new heads in the training ground, a few different ways of playing, and different players that'll be hungry and want to do well than the same players that might have stagnated as the season went on. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, it's a hard. I never like to really judge derby games now. They're always hard to judge. You can never tell, but I think it's going to be a good, interesting game all the same now. But yeah, I think the new players coming in for Cork are going to liven it up a wee bit now, to make it a wee bit more unpredictable. You don't know. You're saying they could be great now, but they mightn't gel just yet for Cork, and Cove might be able to take advantage of that. But it can go either way, can't it? Really.
Absolutely. I think, derby matches, no matter what division you're in, what league you're in, they can go anyway. And it does depend on the team that shows up on the day. Like, you could be losing 3, 4, 5 games on a lose streak, and you go into the derby. It's a different mindset, it's a different atmosphere. You're going to want to go out, and you're going to be, you're going to want to win that derby no matter what. So I think the mindset always changes, and teams normally do step it up a gear. But the ones that don't, the ones that don't step it up a gear, the ones that just don't show up will lose, and a lot of times lose badly. And we've seen that recent times with Bows and Rovers derbies. You've seen them with like some Pats and Bows derbies. Just very good games over the seasons in both leagues, and look, it's going to be a great game, and it's great to see the Cove team ahead of the Cork team. Who would have thought this a few years ago that we'd be seeing Cove leapfrog Cork in the league, albeit Division 1. I don't think anyone would have really have called it. Excellent to see. I think it's going to be a very good game. I can actually see Cove getting a win here. I can see it being a 1-0 win the Cove. It'll be a very tight game, and like Fiacre said, it's always hard to call derbies. Jamie, what's your prediction for this one?
See, I would agree with you, Daz, but looking at this now, Charlie Lyons and Ben O'Riordan, who are two players that probably would have started for Cove, they're both suspended for this game. So that's probably swayed my opinion a little bit, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Cork.
Yeah, you're so right. And, Ben O'Riordan is a big, tall centre back. He's a good player, and he's a mainstay in that Cove team. And, when he's been out of the team, I think Cove looked a bit more rocky in the back, because, he does be in the back clearing balls, and, he's a dependable centre back for them, and he is a good player for Cove. And, that could hurt them, especially a team like Cove, when they've got a lot of local players and Munster senior league players that they've brought in. So that can hurt them. I do think Cove will be up for it. Might get the win for me. That's why I went with them. Fiacre, where do you see this being?
I think I'll edge my bets, go 1-0 Cork.
1-0 Cork. Excellent. I think the next game then we'll look at is Galway against Shelbourne. Obviously, this is a top of the table clash, and two full-time teams going at it in Division 1. Shelbourne are obviously having one of the best seasons ever for them as a club, albeit in Division 1. They are at the top of the league. They've got some fine players. They've been, really hitting the lights this season of where they want to be. And if they can carry this kind of a team and the way they play into next season, they should definitely do well and not be sucked into any kind of relegation battle. But they are going up against a very good Galway team who, they're, I think they're second or third in the league anyway, but they've been getting results every week. They've been up there. I've been last few weeks when I've been doing this show, Galway have been a team that we've been talking about in a positive manner. They've been the one scoring and keeping clean sheets. Jamie, what way do you see this one going?
See, like you said, guys, they're both first division teams, but they both got Premier Division quality players scattered in their squad. Especially Shelbourne, you can almost argue that most of their squad are Premier Division quality. And you have to look at this game, as such a big game. I think Galway, they really can't lose this game. If they really have aspirations of really pushing Shelbourne to the league title this year, they need to win this. And in big games, you need big experienced heads. And when it comes to that, you look at Conor Kearns, you look at Conor McCormack. But apart from that, you have a very young squad, Whereas when you look at the Shelbourne side, JJ Lunny, Michael Barker, Michael O'Connor, they've done it all in both leagues. So I think you have to lean towards Shells, yeah. So
I do think for games like this, like you said, experience does come into it and know how it comes into it. Players have been there and done it comes into it. And if you perform well in the Premier Division and you're not a washed up old player, you will obviously should perform anyway on paper in Division 1. I do think it'll be a very hard game for both teams because Galway aren't up there by any accident. They've really pushed on this season and they are up there, and it's by no accident, like I said, and they will push Shelbourne, and like you said, they'll be wanting to get one over Shelbourne. And if you look at Shelbourne where they are in the league, and the points tally that they have, and it'll be a very hard game. But I think, like you said, I think Shelbourne have enough quality to get through, and for me, I think they'll win it. I think they'll win it 1-0. Fiacre, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, I do think the Shelbourne team is just a wee bit too strong for Galway. It's going to be a very interesting game now. I think it could go either way. It has potential to go either way, but no, I would edge a wee bit more towards Shelbourne in this. I do think that they are just a bit more high quality. I think they will settle nicely as well next season into the Premier League. I can't see them going straight down if they can keep this nucleus of this team anyway. Yeah,
absolutely. And look, I'd love to see Galway back in the Premier Division sometime, but it's Shelbourne now going up. Let's face it, they're coming back up, and they're going to be ground sharing with Bohs in a few years' time. Next up, then we're going to look at UCD against Athlone, and Whelan for UCD has been putting the balls into the back of the net all season. He's top scorer Division 1, and the students are the kind of they're up in mid-table. It's not even like they're winning the league or anywhere close to it really. But I do like how UCD play. They're known for playing football. They're known for keeping the ball on the ground. They've produced players year on year, and I think it's absolutely great what they do. They're students. They're in college. They they study full time and they play football. Obviously in Division 1, and when they're in the Premier Division, I really enjoyed watching them. So I do hope to get back there someday. They're going up against an Athlone town team who, they have a few experienced players in the team, and obviously they formulated the team this season that a lot of people kind of didn't really expect them to formulate. But what way do you see this one going for you, Graham? UCD are home against Athlone.
Yeah, no, I always think the UCD teams, they've always been hard to beat, because they're young players, and I don't mean anything about it, but they're almost playing for their futures, because they are all the students, all young players. And when you're playing for your future and trying to make a name for yourself, it's very hard sometimes to stop that. And it works very well for UCD. They know what they are. They know they're not a big club that's going to win trophies year on year and that, but they produce an awful lot of very good players. You look, most of the best players in the league really have at one stage or another played at least one season for UCD. You can name a load of them. So I do think it'll be a very good game though. UCD are always fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie, like what Fiacre said there, these UCD players, they are kind of playing for the next move. They're not going to stay at UCD forever. Obviously, they're a college team. You're not going to stay there. And clubs do look at the UCD players because they can fit into a lot of different club systems and how they play it. And recent times, Shamrock Rovers have picked up a good few UCD players, and a few notable ones that we're all well aware of that have come to, UCD. But look, I think it's going to be a good game, and I think I do think UCD have the quality to get through it. I do think Whelan will get a goal or two in this game against Athlone. And, I really like Athlone. I like them as a club. I'd like them to come back up in the Premier Division sometime. They've got a great ground. But Athlone, they're not doing too bad in the league. They're kind of, bottom-ish mid-table. They're kind of where I expected them to be. And they're not having the worst of seasons. And I think if Athlone can hold on to this team that they have now and hold on to the manager, he's on a 2-year deal anyway at the club. I think Athlone could be trying to push to get into the playoffs, even for this season. Like you said there about one of the other teams, it's about building and keeping the momentum going and keeping the pressure on and trying to slip into that playoff position and stay in it. Once you get into it, stay in it. They are pushing for it, and I hope to get it. I hope to get in there and, at least challenged when they're up there and they're in it. What way do you see this one going?
I really am looking forward to this game. I think, like you sort of alluding to, Athlone are on the right trajectory now. They're really improving year on year. And with UCD, every year you seem to sort of, at the start of the season, you think, what's going on here? Who do they have? And then within 4 or 5 games, there's a new crop of players that are, you think are amazing. So this year, I think Jack Keeney in the middle. I think he's some player. Same with Liam Kerrigan. And I just think when it comes to quality, they have that final pass that I probably think the Athlone players just don't have. Like, you have Glenn McCauley up front. I know he's a goal scorer, but he's a poacher, if that makes sense. Like, he isn't going to be the one that creates the goals for himself. He needs someone in behind him, feeding him in chances. But I'm not too sure if Athlone have that yet this year. Whereas, Liam Kerrigan, Jack Keeney, they feed Colin Whelan and they allow Colin Whelan to have all these amazing stats where you look at his stats and see, he scored 3 goals today, 4 goals today. But that's all because of these two midfielders, and I can see it being pretty similar again today, not today, the weekend. And I think UCD probably win this one 3-1.
Yeah, look, that was very insightful, and you're so right. Like, they do feed Whelan the ball that Whelan puts in the back of the net. It'd be interesting to see where he is next season. Another season in Division 1 won't do him any harm. He's getting game time. He's playing at a decent enough level. He's scoring goals. He'd be full of confidence. He'd be nearly better off staying with UCD, obviously completing his studies, what have you, but playing games than going to somewhere else and not getting in. But yeah, I do think it'll be a UCD win as well. I think UCD could win this game comfortably 2-0. I think that's how it's going to go. And like we touched on there with Athlone and a few of their players, and Macaulay, hopefully he starts finding a home for himself, and hopefully he scores a few more goals with Athlone this season and gets his confidence back. Because once upon a time he was at Liverpool as a kid. He didn't go over there by any luck or accident. He obviously was good underage. He's been at a few different clubs, didn't work out for him. Hopefully he can find his feet at Athlone. He can get a move towards next season. Fiaco, what's your prediction for this one?
Yeah, I'd probably go with 2-0 UCD myself.
Yeah, excellent stuff. I suppose the next game then we're looking at is Wexford against Cabinteely. Obviously Wexford, I think they've only had 1 win this season still. Look, I've touched on Wexford numerous times in the show, like we all have. It is what it is. They're an amateur club in the league. They only pay expenses. They don't really have funds to bring in players. And by no means am I ever going to start picking holes at Wexford. And, I do respect them for being in the league. It's great to have a team like Wexford in the league. And, Mylan is on loan from Bowes at Wexford, and he's doing very well. He's getting game time and he's improving game on game. And he's playing in his position that he, would have played at Bowes. He's playing in the attacking midfield role, and sometimes up front and sometimes in the wing. It depends on the game. It depends on what he moves in the game. But he's been amongst the goal scorers. He's been amongst the assists. So he's getting really good exposure at Wexford. But to play in the Cabinteely side, who probably have one of their worst seasons in terms of being in since they've been in the League of Ireland. At one stage, they were near the top of the league, but as seasons went on, they slowly drifted down. And I think Cabinteely need to examine where they're going to go with next season, like what players they want to bring in. And this season just hasn't been what they wanted it to be. Wexford are home for this game. Jamie, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, I really appreciate Wexford in this league. I think they're one of the teams like UCD that we need in the league. They haven't got the biggest budget, but they do everything they can. And when you look at their squad, it's mostly players under the age of 23. Like, obviously, you got Jimmy Corcoran in goal. You have Jack Moylan on loan from Bowes. You have Kyle Robinson, Cian Kelly, both on loan from Pats. You need teams like that in the league to really fill the gap between under 19s and senior football in the Premier Division. And to be fair to Wexford, they definitely have a spot in the league for doing that. Obviously now they've added a bit more experience in the form of Lorcan and Fitzgerald. I think he's in a player coach role there.
Yeah.
So that's handy because you can't just have 23, 21, 22-year-olds just going out and playing football. You need some old heads in the dressing room guiding them in the right direction. And I think they have that now. And I think they're a club on the way up. Yeah. See, this is the thing now with Wexford. How many of them players will they keep? Because a lot of them are on loan and a lot of them are one-year deals or semi-professional deals. Whereas with Cabinteely, I think they're the opposite at the minute. I think they're getting worse year on year. I think Pat Devlin is... I respect him tremendously for what he's done, but I don't think he has the funding at Cabinteely. I think they rely too much on Kieran Marty Waters every year. But that's okay because, they're not in the League of Ireland to be some huge club. They do the best that they can, and, you have to accept that. So these are two teams that probably would be at the bottom of the first division and don't have the aspirations to get playoffs. But that's okay, they have a spot in the league. And I can see it being a 3-0 Wexford win because, hear me out, because they've beaten them 3-0 before in the Cup. About 3 weeks ago, they beat them 3-0 in the Cup.
Yeah.
And I just think, when it comes to results, Wexford, they pick up an amazing result that has you taking a second glance here and there. And I have a feeling Cabinteely will be low in confidence. So, yeah, I'm going to back Wexford here.
Yeah, very interesting. And, like you said, it is, I've touched on this a few weeks ago with Wexford, so I don't want to get into it too much, but, the players they have will be leaving. The players that they do have that are good will be looking at their next move. The loan players won't be there next season. It all depends on who they can keep and who they can bring in. And unfortunately, that's the way it is with the status of their club. But that's the way it is. They've one win all season. I can't really see it being... I can see it being a Cabinteely win. I can't really see Wexford doing too much in the game. It could be either a 1-1 draw. Milo might surprise me again and get another goal. Like I said, he's having a great season there. Happy that he is there and getting game time. Cabinteely do have, more experience in the league, and they will be wanting to get back on them for that 3-0 defeat that they've recently suffered for them. So for you go, where do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, no, I can't see any losing this game. I think they're going to want to get revenge for the 3-0 loss. And I think probably just be a 1-0 win with Cabinteely. I can't see Wexford are just been really poor this season. I think one win all season, at this stage, you have to kind of step that up away, but don't just... So
yeah, absolutely. I think one interesting thing that Jamie said, Fiacre, is you can't have a bunch of 21, 22-year-old players, but the likes of UCD has shown you can because of where they are in the league. They're kind of pushing for the playoff position. And if you look at the Premier Division at Bowes, they've got that great result against Park and they're fourth in the Premier Division. So I think it can be done. It just depends on the players you have. And I think Wexford... they have 3 or 4 good players, okay players for where they are, but the rest of them kind of average enough and very, very young, and they're just not at the level that the other players will be at that are very young that can push a team up the league.
Yeah. Well, UCD, you see, they can attract the better quality young players because our college, they can offer you a free scholarship. College.
Excellent. And then the last game of this week's fixtures is Bray are home to Treaty United. Look, Bray have a few very good individual players, as does Treaty, and Treaty are having a very good debut season in Division 1. Jamie, what way do you see this one? It's going to be an interesting game for sure, especially Treaty, with the way they've been playing this season.
Do you want to hear a controversial shout here? I think Tommy Barrett is the manager of the year in both divisions. I think he's absolutely, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's got Treaty in third in the first division. They were formed at the start of the year. He had 24 players, I think it was, down at trial one night, all right? And he had to choose a squad from that. And he's done amazing, Mark Hidden, Ty Ryan, it's crazy when you think of it. It's, if they get into the playoffs, which it looks like they will be now, that is some job. And he definitely isn't getting the credit he deserves. But, you look at Bray. I think they've gone an amazing run. I think they haven't been beaten in 7 or 8 now. Maybe one loss in that period.
Bray have went under the radar recently, getting these wins and carving out like draws here and there, and they've obviously been proven very hard to get beat. I think this is why it's going to be a very interesting game with Treaty.
Yeah, and as well they have Ryan Graydon and Brandon Kavanagh, who are 2 amazing attacking players. I'm sure you know a lot about Ryan Graydon, Daz. You know, at Bows, he was very good.
Yeah, he
And
was. Yeah,
obviously you have Kavanagh then on the other wing. You know, that's a good attack. And then
Sam
you look at
Verdon
the
up
whole
front.
Sam Verdon. Yeah, they have a very good squad. Once again, you know, they're Premier Division quality players in my opinion, and I can see them having maybe a bit too much for Treaty.
Fuka, Treaty are third in the division. Like Jamie said, you had to pick a squad one night for 24 players. He's done an amazing job. What way to see this one going? 3 hours away from home.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to go with Treaty on this one. Like, to be honest, now I didn't really watch much of them until the Dundalk game in the cup. I thought they were fantastic that night. Very unlucky to go away, but no, I think I'd like to see them do well. I think maybe it's just the fairy tale thing of them getting into the playoff in the first year, maybe somehow getting promoted. But like that's, as you said, like you one night to pick a team, and that's the position they're in. Like, so that's fantastic. I think the players are going to be up for this now. It's getting close to the end of the season, and the closer they get, the more they can believe. So I think that alone might help them push them over. Might just see a 1-0 Treaty win.
Absolutely. I think Tommy Barr has got the players playing for him, and he's got them playing for the club. And, you know, when you've got players that are backing you as a manager and playing for you and playing for the shirt, you're going to do good things and you're going to get far. And even if you do get beat, you're not going to get beat like, you know, hard. You're going to go down fighting. And I think once you have a spirit like that in the team, you're going to go places and you're going to build on it. And I really hope Tree can keep his team together, because, you know, there will be teams sniffing around at their players. The players might be tempted to leave, but I hope for Treaty's sake they can keep the players. And Tommy Barrett's done an excellent job. And like Jamie said, you know, it's no accident where they are, and they've done amazing this season. I'm so happy where they are in the league, and it's great for Limerick to have their side back in the league and to be pushing in the playoffs. It's very interesting to see how the playoffs do go, and I think they will make the playoffs. I think they'll stay in it. For myself, I'm going to go with a 1-0 Treaty win.
Perfect. I'll go 2-1 Bray.
2-1 Bray, and yourself, Vika.
And I'm going 1-0 Treaty.
1-0 Treaty. Lads, it's been excellent having you on. Thanks very much for coming on. Like and subscribe if you're new, and please share the video. Thanks very much, lads.
Cheers, lads. Thanks.